Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. Guys, still a little getting better. I puked twice. Not that I want to tell you guys this, but yeah, feel a little bit better. Just I don't know. I think it's probably some kind of bug. My whole family's got it, so it's got the same thing. My brother had it. Sister-in-law had it. My little brother's got it as well now. And yeah, I think it's just a bug going round. And unfortunately, I've also now got it as well. I've been in the wars. I've been in the wars, but guys, smash the like button. I am going to try to do a live as soon as this video uploads. I'm going to try to do a live stream, probably about in 40-50 minutes. So by the time this video goes up, I'll probably be looking to do a live. I'm going to do it on my phone. But guys, I wanna go straight into it. I've seen a lot of reaction and I haven't done a video. Probably should have done it early on. I wasn't feeling too good, so I thought, let me wait a little bit where I can explain what I wanted to say properly. Guys, we had a great fight today morning. And we saw Canelo Alvarez get the job done and stop Caleb Plant in 11. And I did say everything I said happened, really. I said, Caleb might do well for a first couple of rounds and then Canelo will take over. And Caleb will tire and he'll get stopped later on in the fight. And that's basically what happened. Canelo right now for me is unbeatable. I'm not afraid of saying that. I think unless he goes up to cruiserweight or something stupid like that, I think he's unbeatable. I don't think there's anyone that's going to beat him. I would pick him to beat everybody. Beterbiev, Bivol, everybody. He's just too good. He's too strong. He's too powerful. He's too much pressure, mental and physical pressure. I just think he beats everyone. He's got a really good defense. Although his defense isn't as good as Mayweather's defense, probably because he's a bit more offensive than Mayweather. Especially when Mayweather moved up to welterweight, Mayweather became a very safe fighter. If you look at Mayweather's early fights at 135, he used to get caught a lot because Mayweather threw a lot of punches in combinations and he left himself open a lot more. I remember when he fought DeMarcus Corley, Chop Corley, like he got hit with a lot of shots in that fight. Corley hit him with some big shots. And I was like, whoa, he's getting caught with some big shots. But as he moved up weight, he became a very defensive wizard and he became a fighter that was very, very hard to hit. A very slippery fighter. And Canelo's he's kind of the same. Not as slippery as Mayweather. Because the problem is with a lot of these guys, I think the only way to beat Canelo is if you're a big puncher. Like Golovkin, that's able to push Canelo back. Plant doesn't have the power, neither does Andre. Now, we've had debates and I know a lot of you now are saying, where's Christian, where's this, where's that? And this is what I've been trying to explain to Christian in the live streams, that you could have great footwork and you could have fast hands. That doesn't mean you're going to win the fight. Canelo is so strong. He cuts the ring off. He hits you to the body so hard. Yeah, he may have a little trouble against guys that can box and move, but Andrade is exactly the same as Plant. It's exactly the same kind of fight. What does Andrade do? He doesn't do a lot better. He's not as big as Plant. He's not as tall as Plant. Yeah, he may be faster than Plant. He might have quicker feet, but we already saw Andrade struggle. Right? We already saw Andrade struggle in fights against Williams. And Canelo's way better than that. Way better. I don't want to hear, well, Williams was this height and that. It's irrelevant. Like, Canelo would beat Andrade, no problem. And he'd beat Charlo, he'd beat Benavidez, he'll beat all of those guys aren't a contest. There's always going to be people that think that, oh yeah, he needs to fight that guy, he needs to fight that guy. But people were saying that he was fighting all Euro guys. Then they were saying, oh, well, he hasn't faced the American slickness. Now he's faced that American guy and he stopped him as well. And he'd beat Charlo. He'd beat all of those guys. I'm telling you, he'd beat all of those guys. The only guy that possibly at 175 that could cause him a bit of issue is Beterbiev. That's the only guy. Apart from that, no one's coming close. I'm telling you, no one's coming close. Even Bivol can't hurt Canelo. It's the same kind of fight. Bivol might be a little bit more skilled than Plant, but it's the same kind of fight. Canelo will hunt him down, walk him down, and wear him down. These guys don't have the experience, the fitness, the mental. They don't have the physicality and mental strength, or mental fitness to do that for 12 rounds against this guy. He's just too strong. He hits too hard to the body. He's always on in your face. The only way you can stop that is if you're a big puncher. If Caleb Plant was a big puncher, then it would be a different ball game altogether. Because then Canelo would be fighting somebody that's a big, big puncher. And Caleb Plant wasn't a big puncher. And I did say that would be an issue. You know, I saw a podcast from DAZN, and they said when Canelo finishes his career, he will go down as a top 10 greatest fighter of all time. I think at the minute we don't know, but I definitely think he will, because he's not like any other fighter. And what I mean by that, he's doing things that are breaking boundaries. He's fighting 4 times a year, you know, against champions and becoming undisputed in 11 months. He's cleaned out a division in 11 months. That's ridiculous. Irrespective of how strong the division was or not. I will say this, I feel like Canelo can only beat what's in front of him. He can only beat what's in front of him. And, you know, Canelo unfortunately isn't blessed with, you know, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, you know, Duran and guys like that in his era. You know, he had one guy in Golovkin who was top fighter, who I thought won the first fight. And I thought Canelo won the second fight. But he needed more competition like that, and unfortunately there isn't any. The only way Canelo is gonna get beat, or is Canelo and those guys that are heavier than him aren't on his level. But because those guys are so much bigger, that might be the undoing of Canelo. And that's what Canelo's gonna have to do. People are talking about Canelo and Usyk. That's ridiculous. That's not even a practical fight. But that's because people want to see Canelo in super fights. Like Ward, if he was around, that would have been a super fight. You know, someone like Calzaghe. You know, someone like Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones. These would have been super fights. But Canelo doesn't have that kind of competition. It's not his fault. He's fighting the guys in his era. But he doesn't have those marquee names. You know, he's fighting these guys that aren't very experienced. They're champions, but they aren't very experienced. Their resumes are poor. And they're not fighting one another because they want that Canelo payday, so they're not getting experience. Like Caleb Plant really wasn't. I think he needed a couple of more fights against your Benavidez's, against your Charlos, and then he could be ready for Canelo. But the problem is those guys don't want to take those risks, because Plant knows if he fights Charlo, he could lose. If he fights Benavidez, he could lose. So what Plant is doing? Plant thought I need to fight some easy fights and then fight Canelo because it's going to be a big payday. And that's what everyone's doing. That's why they're not fighting each other, because they're all waiting for that Canelo payday. But that's not good for a fighter's growth. That's not good for a fighter's development. And like I said, you're looking at a very special fighter in Canelo. He's not an ordinary fighter. You're looking at arguably one of the greatest fighters of all time when it's all said and done. And this, people may think I'm stretching, but I do think Canelo may go down as one of the greatest of all time. You know, depending on how he finishes off his career. But if he keeps winning, like if he goes out and cleans the 175-pound division out, then there's no debate about where he should be ranked. The guy's doing phenomenal things right now, and he needs to be respected. He needs to be given credit for. You know, to clean out a division in 11 months. And I'm not saying Callum Smith and Billy Joe and Plant are Hall of Famers, because they're not. But they are good fighters. They're respectable world champions. And he destroyed them. They weren't even fights. Plant probably did better than all of the other two. But even that fight, you could tell that the writing was on the wall. You know, Plant was literally on the ropes for majority of that fight. How are you going to win if you're on the ropes for majority of a fight? He was getting backed up for all of the fight. You aren't going to beat Canelo Alvarez like that. You aren't. You need to be active. You need to be... Yeah, man. You're not going to beat Canelo like that. You have to be a power puncher. People keep talking about Mayweather. Mayweather's a one-off. Stop talking about Mayweather. That's a one-off fight. I actually just watched that fight. Right now, I was watching the fight again with my granddad, Plant fight. And then we put on the Mayweather fight. Because my granddad was saying that This guy's so hard. You can't beat him because my granddad likes Canelo as well. He goes, this guy is tough as anything. And then I told my granddad that Mayweather beat him, and he goes, Mayweather's just, he goes, he's a defender. My granddad calls Mayweather a defender. Like, he goes, that guy's just a defender. He's very intelligent. He hits you and then just moves away. And we just watched that fight, and it was a masterclass performance by Mayweather. But Mayweather's a one-off. You can't compare these fighters like Andrade and say, oh, well, yeah, Mayweather did it. Stop talking about Mayweather. He's a one-off. Just because Mayweather does it, that doesn't mean Plant can do it. That doesn't mean Andrade can do it. They're not on Mayweather's level. It's a different level. Mayweather is one of the greatest ever. Plant and Andrade and these guys are not on that kind of level. So it's irrelevant. And Canelo's grown so much since that Mayweather fight. He's grown so much. So now you're not just fighting a guy that deals better with those type of fighters. He's also grown a lot. He's developed as a fighter, and he's basically in the gym all the time. It's hard. It's going to be hard to beat him. I'm telling you. I'm hard to beat Canelo Alvarez. He will go down as one of the greatest of all time. That's just my opinion. Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.